My husband didn't know I saw everything. He thought I was upstairs folding laundry when his phone lit up on the kitchen counter, but I was standing right there and I read every word before he even walked back into the room. For 12 years, I built my life around this man. I learned how he liked his coffee, dark with just a touch of sugar. I learned the sound of his car in the driveway, the rhythm of his footsteps on the stairs, the exact tone of his voice when he was tired versus when he was lying. I thought I knew him completely. I thought that after everything we'd survived together, the miscarriages, the years when money was so tight we ate rice and eggs for dinner 3 nights a week, the nights I sat by his father's hospital bed holding his hand because he couldn't bring himself to do it alone, I thought we were unbreakable. I was wrong. The message was from someone named Claire. It said, "Can't stop thinking about last night." My hands didn't even shake. That's the part that scared me most. How calm I was, like some part of me had already known and had simply been waiting for proof. I didn't confront him that night. I want you to understand why. I needed to see how far the lie would go, so I smiled when he walked in. I asked him how his day was. I watched him kiss my forehead and tell me he loved me. And I said it back, and for the first time in my marriage, I meant it as a weapon instead of a truth. Over the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. I checked his location when he said he was at the gym. I noted the receipts in his jacket pockets. A candlelit dinner for 2 on a night he told me he was working late. I found a hotel charge on a card I didn't know he had. Every piece of evidence I gathered, I filed away quietly, the way you'd build a case, because that's exactly what I was doing. I wasn't just his wife anymore. I was a woman preparing for war, and he had no idea the enemy was already inside the house. The hardest part wasn't the evidence. It was performing love. It was making his favorite dinner on a Tuesday while knowing exactly where he'd been the Tuesday before. It was laughing at his jokes at his sister's birthday party while Claire's name sat in my phone like a loaded gun. People tell you that when you find out your husband is cheating, you fall apart immediately. Nobody tells you that some of us go quiet instead. Some of us go cold and methodical, because falling apart is a luxury, and I had 2 kids upstairs who needed their mother to still be standing. I started seeing a lawyer during my lunch breaks, telling my coworkers I had dentist appointments. I opened a separate account and moved a little money into it each week, small enough that he wouldn't notice, because if I'd learned anything from watching my own mother stay too long in a marriage that broke her, it was this: never let a man be the only one holding the keys to your freedom. The night I finally said something, it wasn't dramatic the way you'd expect. There was no screaming, no thrown plates. We were sitting at the same kitchen table where his phone had first lit up weeks earlier. I slid a folder across to him, printed messages, hotel confirmations, the receipt from that candlelit dinner. I watched the color drain from his face as he realized I hadn't just found out. I had known for weeks. I had watched him lie to my face for weeks, and I had let him because I needed to know exactly who I was dealing with before I decided what to do about it. He tried everything. He cried. He said it meant nothing, that it was a mistake, that he'd end it immediately, that he loved me and only me, and maybe some of that was even true. But here's what he never understood about me, what 12 years of marriage apparently hadn't taught him. I don't make decisions from panic. I make them from clarity. And by the time I confronted him, I wasn't confused anymore. I was certain. I didn't leave that night. I want to be honest with you about that, because this isn't a simple story of a woman who packed a bag and walked out into some cinematic sunset. I stayed for 3 more months, not because I forgave him, but because I needed to make sure my children's world didn't collapse overnight, and because I needed every legal and financial piece in place first. I smiled at family dinners. I let his mother believe everything was fine, and every single day I got a little stronger, a little more prepared, a little closer to the version of myself I'd buried for over a decade trying to be the perfect wife. When I finally left, I didn't need to raise my voice or make a scene. I simply told him that the woman he underestimated for 12 years had been paying attention the entire time. I told him that I saw everything from the very first night, and that the version of me who smiled and made his coffee and pretended not to notice had been the strongest thing I ever did, because it gave me the time I needed to save myself and my children without losing everything in the process. People ask me if I regret staying those extra months, pretending, watching, waiting. I don't. Because somewhere between reading that first message on the counter and walking out the front door for the last time, I learned something no one ever taught me growing up. A woman who stays quiet isn't always weak. Sometimes she's simply gathering the strength to leave on her own terms, in her own time, with everything she needs already in her hands. And when she finally does, there's nothing anyone can do to stop her.